All right, everyone ready for this? We're about to dive into something pretty epic. A 24-day motorcycle trip to Sturgis and back.
And we're going deep, using their video diaries, raw and unedited.
Exactly, so we'll really get a feel for what it's like. Breathtaking views, yeah. But also surprise downpours and those you gotta be kidding me moments. You know, those things that happen on every trip.
What's cool is with these videos, you get the real deal, not just some polished, highlight reel. You really see their resilience, especially when the weather turns sour.
And the bonds, those friendships that form on the road.
Definitely. And also those moments of pure awe when they encounter something truly spectacular.
Okay, so day one. They start in Halifax, Nova Scotia.
Halifax, nice.
Yeah, and get this, they kick off the trip with a ferry ride across the Bay of Fundy.
Oh, wow, that's got to be something.
Right. I mean, the highest tides in the world.
You might even see some whales.
Maybe, yeah. And then they end up in Ellsworth, Maine.
Yeah.
But get this, when they arrive at their accommodation, there aren't enough towels for everyone.
Oh, no. Can you imagine scrambling for dry-off solutions after a long day on the road?
It's always those little things, right? You plan everything out and then bam, curveball. But that's what makes it memorable, I guess.
It's all about rolling with it. So day two, and another curveball, heavy rain and fog through the White Mountains of New Hampshire.
Not ideal riding conditions.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
But you see their determination. You can really tell they have that we're in this together attitude.
Adversity, it can really bring people together. You face challenges head on, support each other, keep those spirits high. It's what creates those lasting memories,
Yeah.
and those ride or die friendships.
Oh, and this is funny. One of the riders had to turn back. They forgot their hat.
Classic. Happens to the best of us.
Totally. And it just shows how everyone brings their own quirks to the trip, adds another layer to the whole story.
Each person's on their own unique ride.
Right.
Even within the group.
Okay, day three, still rolling, of course, through Vermont, smooth roads there,
Yep.
then New York.
They'd have everything in New York, right? Yeah. Farmland, forests, and eventually they make it to Pennsylvania. A bit more rugged terrain.
In the rain.
Still hanging on, unfortunately, but they're adapting. Like pros, you really see their grit. It's not all, sunshine and perfect weather on these trips.
It's a real test of, endurance. You're pushing through fatigue, dealing with the unexpected. And there's a certain satisfaction that comes with that, covering all that ground, seeing all those landscapes change.
Absolutely. Then, day 4. Ready for this? More rain.
No way!
Seriously. But there's a silver lining. They find an Indian motorcycle dealer in Ohio.
What a relief that must have been.
Talk about perfect timing, a chance to dry off, connect with fellow riders. It's like a little haven.
It's more than just a break from the rain. It's that feeling of community, when you've been battling the elements and suddenly you're surrounded by people who just get it.
They totally get it. And then, finally, the sky is clear. They get to experience those vast cornfields, Indiana, Illinois, all bathed in sunshine. They even make a stop to see some antique Indian motorcycles.
And McClare, Iowa, right. A little history lesson on 2 wheels.
Exactly. It makes you think about, how these bikes have evolved.
There.
From those vintage machines to the ones they'll see later at the factory.
A bridge between the past and present.
But those long hours, all that time in the saddle, it catches up to them. They roll into their hotel in Cedar Falls, Iowa, and they are exhausted.
It's a good reminder that these trips, they're demanding,
Yeah.
physically and mentally.
Definitely. Not for the faint of heart. And then, day 6, they reach Spirit Lake, Iowa, home of the Indian Motorcycle Factory.
Wow. That must have been quite a moment, like a pilgrimage, almost.
You can feel their excitement, getting a behind-the-scenes look at where these iconic bikes are made, seeing the craftsmanship firsthand.
Linking their personal journey to this bigger story, the legacy of Indian motorcycles.
Exactly. And as they cross into South Dakota, the landscape starts to change. Wider plains, you can feel the anticipation building. Sturgis is getting closer.
And Sioux Falls.
Yeah.
That's where they stop for the night. A well-deserved rest.
They need it. So day 7, a bit of a mix today. They start with a visit to the South Dakota Tractor Museum.
The Tractor Museum.
Yeah, unexpected, right, but kind of charming. Then they see the Dignity statue, this incredible tribute to Native American culture.
It's amazing how these trips can take you to these unexpected places that make you think, make you feel.
And then, the moment they've been waiting for. They enter the Black Hills, the roads start to wind, the scenery gets more rugged. They finally reach their Airbnb in Custer, South Dakota.
Talk about a sense of arrival.
Right. Like they finally reached biker paradise. And day 8 is all about soaking it in. Those iconic sights of the Black Hills, Mount Rushmore, the Crazy Horse Memorial.
Places that really make you, reflect on history and different perspectives.
Yeah. And then the highlight. Needles Highway.
Needles Highway, legendary.
Tight turns, granite spires, those narrow tunnels. It's the kind of riding that gets your heart racing. And then finally, day 9, they reach Sturgis.
The mecca of motorcycle culture.
The energy is electric, bikes everywhere, enthusiasts from all over the world.
It's a real celebration, isn't it? Of individuality, that shared love for the open road.
And you know they head straight to the Indian motorcycle dealer. Oil change, long wait. But hey, those bikes need to be in top shape.
Of course, of course.
Then it's off to the Buffalo Chip. And as evening hits, the temperature plummets. Mother Nature, huh? Even in Sturgis.
Gotta be prepared for anything on these trips.
So they make a practical decision, ship some stuff back home, make room for souvenirs. Day 10, their last full day in the Sturgis area, and they head out to experience the Badlands.
The Badlands. It's like another world, isn't it?
Such a contrast to the energy of Sturgis, a reminder that there's this vastness out there, beyond the rally, beauty and wonder in these quieter places.
Absolutely. It's all about finding those moments of connection, right?
Yeah.
With nature, with yourself.
All right, so day 11. Bittersweet goodbyes to South Dakota, leaving Sturgis behind. Those epic Black Hills.
You can see in their videos they're feeling a lot of things. It's
Yeah.
reflection on everything they've seen, the challenges, but also the friendships.
It's a turning point in their trip, for sure. They're heading back east now, carrying all those experiences with them.
They're seeing the world differently now after all that.
And they hit those wide open roads of Wyoming. Everything's going smooth until, bam, a broken part on one of the bikes.
Oh no!
Yeah, it throws a wrench in their plans. It's a reminder that things happen, even with the best maintained machines, especially when you're putting on so many miles.
It's the practical side of motorcycle travel, right? You got to be resourceful, know how to troubleshoot.
And rely on your fellow riders.
Exactly.
It delays their arrival in Cody, Wyoming a bit, but that's part of the adventure, I guess.
No, part of the story.
Okay, so, day 12. They get to ride the Chief Joseph Scenic Byway. Wow. Talk about stunning vistas. I mean, the road's named after a legendary Nez Perce leader. You know it's going to be good.
Not just landscapes, right? They're riding through history. Makes you think about, the stories behind those roads, the people who traveled them before.
It definitely adds another layer to their journey. And speaking of legendary roads, get ready for this. Beartooth Pass.
Beartooth Pass.
This one's intense. Over 10,000 feet above sea level. Switchbacks, hairpin turns. The scenery is mind-blowing. But those high elevations...
Yeah, the weather can change in an instant. And it does. They experience a serious temperature drop.
Makes you glad you packed those layers.
Then they finally reach Montana. They trade those towering peaks for vast plains. They roll into Billings just in time for the first annual Indian Motorcycle Rally.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's a chance to connect with a whole new group of riders.
Yeah.
Celebrate that shared passion.
A bit different from the massive Sturgis Rally, huh? Definitely more intimate. Shows the diversity of motorcycle culture. You have the huge events and then these smaller, local gatherings.
It's all about community. Right.
Totally.
Yeah.
And they decide to make the most of their time in Montana. They ride Beartooth Pass again.
Again?
Yeah, I know. But this time, they join a group of Indian motorcycle enthusiasts. So imagine, dozens of bikes roaring through those mountain canyons.
The energy must have been incredible.
It's really about the shared experience, right? The camaraderie. So remember that rider who decided to go solo to the tail of the dragon?
Oh, yeah?
Well, he finally reaches his destination. And let me tell you, this road is legendary. 318 curves in 11 miles. It's a test of skill, a rush of adrenaline.
It's a pilgrimage for some riders. They just have to conquer the dragon.
And you know what? Even though he's riding solo, he's surrounded by people who get it, who understand the allure.
The whole community.
So days 16 and 17, it's really about those different approaches to motorcycle travel, The solo rider embracing that freedom, and then the group finding strength in that shared experience, supporting each other.
There's no one right way to do it, right?
Exactly. It's about what resonates with you, what brings you joy. But let me tell you, that tail of the dragon, it leaves a mark. It's a challenge, a thrill.
It's a reminder that sometimes those are the most rewarding journeys, the ones that push us, test our skills, leave us feeling accomplished.
Day 18, and those winding roads just keep on coming. Appalachian Mountains now. And one of the riders decides to tackle the Chihuahua Skyway solo.
The Chihuahua Skyway. Oh yeah, it's beautiful.
40 miles of pure riding bliss, mountain views, challenging curves.
It's a hidden gem. Not as famous as the Dragon, but it's right up there.
Definitely. And eventually he rejoins the group. And together they experience the Blue Ridge Parkway.
Ah, the Blue Ridge Parkway.
This one's all about, savoring the journey. That slower pace, the iconic overlooks.
It's like a moving meditation almost. You disconnect from everything and connect with nature. Those lush forests, rolling hills, mountain vistas that seem to go on forever.
They reach Roanoke, Virginia, a little later than planned, but hey, who's counting minutes when you're having an adventure like this?
That's all about flexibility, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes those little delays lead to the best moments.
And day 19 brings a little bit of everything. They start by marveling at the natural bridge.
Oh, wow.
This incredible natural rock formation. You just stand there in awe of nature's power,
It really puts things in perspective, doesn't it?
Then they make a stop at Cooter's Garage.
Shooters?
Yeah, from the Dukes of Hazzard.
Oh, it's fun.
Gotta love a little nostalgia. And then, for the grand finale, they reach the Hershey's Chocolate Factory.
Hershey's.
Talk about a sweet reward after all those miles.
It's funny how those little things can make a trip so memorable.
Day 20. They're back on the Blue Ridge Parkway, soaking in those last few days on the road, reflecting on the journey.
The perfect place to wind down, isn't it? Just let all those memories sink in.
They end up at a Marriott for the night. And get this, they're allowed to park their bikes right in the drop-off zone.
Really?
It's the little things, right?
It's those small gestures that can make a big difference.
Oh, yeah.
Makes you feel welcome, appreciated.
Absolutely. Day 21. And a little bit of a temperature shock. As they head towards Hershey, it's only 10 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
Quite a change from the heat they experienced earlier.
Yeah, you never know what you can get, weather-wise.
That's for sure. And they actually pick up another rider along the way, a friend of Dave's. He decides to join them for part of the journey.
That's great. The more the merrier, right?
Exactly. And day 22 is just packed with stops. They revisit the natural bridge, then Cooter's Garage for another dose of nostalgia, and finally that Hershey's factory. Chocolate treats galore.
It's a good mix, natural wonders, fun stops. They're really getting a taste of everything.
Day 23, laundry day.
Laundry day, huh?
Gotta stay fresh, right? Even on a motorcycle trip. And one of the riders, he decides to revisit the tail of the dragon.
You couldn't resist, huh?
I guess once you conquer the dragon, it stays with you.
Some experiences they draw you back.
And just like that, it's the final days of their adventure. Thousands of miles covered, a whole tapestry of experiences. As they head home, you can tell they're carrying something special with them.
It's more than just memories, right? It's a new perspective, a renewed appreciation for the world, for life, for those connections you make along the way.
It's been quite a ride, hasn't it? Diving into their video logs like this.
It really makes you want to get out there, doesn't it?
It does. Makes you realize that adventure it's out there for anyone.
No matter what you ride or where you go, it's all about the spirit of exploration.
So to our listeners, we ask you, what's your open road? What's calling your name? Embrace that spirit of adventure. Create your own journey. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. And remember, the road is always calling. Ride safe.